Well, I bring you greetings from Madame Doris Akol, who was supposed to be here, the chief tax collector. And she's happy that you're beginning to understand that taxation is key in every discussion, especially when you're discussing opportunities in trade. Putting into consideration that the African free trade area we've been discussing is going to reduce the revenue that has been coming through importation duty, is that how do we then leverage on domestic revenue mobilization? Because as you know, when we open up these borders, there is no doubt that the goods that will be coming in or services will be coming in will not be taxed. So meaning, currently the domestic revenue contributes around 58% compared to international trade that brings in 42%. Now the 42% is going to reduce further, probably to 20%. So the 80% must be coming from the domestic market here, meaning that we must make sure that the small and medium enterprises, Ricky and team, must comply. So as you came in here, we also had a team that was doing AI to know who is here, what business do you operate in, are you registered, what is your name. We have the revenue nose on everyone. Mr. Oshichi knows this. We are trying to make sure that everyone pays their share, because we believe that if everyone pays a little, no one has to pay more. Quick facts. Current revenue collections, last financial year, we collected 16.6 trillion. Of this 16.6 trillion, 95% of the taxes that we collect are normal flow, meaning that these are willing taxpayers. Largely, SMEs and other taxpayers that are on our tax register. Each tax register is around 1.4 million now. 1.4 million taxpayers, active taxpayers that we have on our register. Meaning that 95% of the revenue of the 16.6 trillion we collected last financial year is normal flow. I do not need to enforce for that revenue to come in. But one of the enablers, the biggest enablers of why this revenue comes in, 95% of it, is because we've decided to go electronic. Make sure that we ease way of doing business for the businessman and woman out there. That when they interact with ERA, 95% of our transactions are electronic in nature. But also, we're aware about the digital space, which is increasing the challenge that we've always talked about of the informal sector. Now, we have had a challenge of the informal sector which has increased around, Mr. Oshichi, you can correct me, around 55% now. Now we have another challenge of the invisible economy. The invisible economy, safe border is compliant, but the invisible economy is like safe food. We now have safe food where you order food and it comes, but that business is in the space. It is in the space because there's no physical location that we know of safe food. I mean, I'm in my garage, I open up a website, I transact with a global village, which has expanded now, and I deliver those goods. Or I'm in a cafe every morning, I wake up, I sit in a cafe, I transact with a business. Now, as ERA, we are awake to this challenge that has, of course, come on board, and we know that we need to make sure that everyone contributes to this a revenue mobilization, because we know that Mama Tendo or Mama Gina, who has a business at Ham Towers and has a physical location, the taxman is always knocking at their door, because we know Mama Gina is trading in garments. And we know her turnover is this. So she is compliant. It would be only unfair to Mama Gina for her to be compliant, and me, who is selling wine, Jumia, food, everything is online, and I'm not compliant. So we are aware about the moving trends of the digital economy, but how are we awake to these challenges? And that's what the chief revenue collector sent me to tell you that thank you for acknowledging that we need to make sure that taxation is part of the discussion, because most SMEs, as you know, largely Uganda is entrepreneurial. Yes, we form companies, but they do not see their 5th or 3rd birthday. One of the reasons is that we do not put taxation when we are planning. And when taxation knocks on the door, it is not something that we have planned for. But it's very important that we plan for taxation, because it's noble to pay tax. So to answer the question of what URA is doing digitally to ensure that SMEs are competitive, both at home and also across borders, putting into consideration, of course, the African trade area that is coming on board. To that effect, URA has made substantial progress towards digitalization of tax systems to enable small and medium enterprises compete favorably. One, we have digitized all our systems to close to 97%. Filing in, paying, return filing. Return filing is now 100%. SMEs are operating at 62%, but large taxpayers and medium taxpayers are operating at 100%. What I needed to confirm also on this point is that as Uganda Revenue Authority, we only operate when small and medium enterprises are thriving, because they're the foundation, the engine of the economy. When they are thriving, that means even the large taxpayer, because if the small and medium enterprise doesn't thrive, the MTN and Airtel and the big taxpayers will not, because these small and medium enterprises largely consume from the large taxpayer. So they are the foundation. In fact, last financial year, they were our center, and deliberately we celebrated them. I think you remember when we profiled 1,000 top SMEs in the papers, but also we invited them at Kololo to exhibit for free 1,000 top SMEs. Currently, our tax register shows 360,000 small and medium enterprises, compared to 1.4 million. But also compared to the over 300 million small and medium enterprises that are around. We have so many businesses around that are not compliant. How do you enable us? I had someone say that we need to share data and integrate our systems. I remember when we raised the concern of tapping into data from the banks. You remember what happened? You remember? Getting information from the banks. EcoBank probably will start by complying and giving us that information, so that, because for them, probably they understand the cause of why we need that data. We have also introduced digital tax systems. I think you've heard about it, which has raised concern. But the issue is that before even I took that vote, I had to check if it had a digital tax stamp, which is here. The issue is that you need to see, and that's the beauty with digital and technology, you need to see the revenues that have started coming in because of just this simple system. And in the region, it's only Uganda that had not started implementing this system. This enables compliance, but also empowers the consumer to know that what they are taking is authentic. But also on the side of the manufacturer is that I no longer worry that there is someone producing water in the garage and putting my mark because it's counterfeit. Also, the consumer is secure because there are healthy concerns, isn't it? When you take water that is not compliant. So the digital tax systems that we have introduced, which we started implementing early Feb, are also partly part of the digitalization that we are trying to create. In terms of tax payment, as someone mentioned, even when you're in a bathroom and you have an EcoBank app, you can pay your taxes. If you come at the airport at 3 a.m. and you have your TV screen, which is beyond the threshold, you swipe using your Visa card and pay taxes. You do not need to delay. What that does is that the small and medium enterprises can now easily, in a very good response time, be able to pay taxes, comply, but also make more money and return back to bring more goods, isn't it? We have also introduced the single customs territory system, talking about regional trade. Now, this has reduced clearance time that used to be 22 days to 3 days from Mombasa. You clap for that. 22 days to 3 days. Why? Because we have to embrace digitalization and also be able to support our businesses. And this, of course, is because that we have acknowledged the importance of us having these systems in place to support small and medium enterprises. We have a system called electronic hub internally. We use it to do data analytics, meaning that this system uses business intelligence to understand which sector and how is it performing. If it's an SME, if it is in small and medium enterprises, I can quickly tell at the end of the day, or the Commissioner General can quickly tell at the end of the day, that under the SME category, manufacturing contributed this revenue today in Western region, in Eastern region, or these are the highly performing sectors in the small and medium enterprises. These are low performing. Probably we need to increase our tax education. So that gives us more information to inform the decision making that we are taking. So the eHub has come in to enable us use data, big data, analyze it before we make decisions. And this has informed also our policies. We also, of course, you know, I will not talk about OTT. But OTT is another subject which I'll discuss. But generally, we have penetrated and we know how social media is working. And as part of the internet audience, we have developed concepts of geo-marketing to target taxpayers based on their location, type of phone, gender, interest, and many more. Because we want to use the power of tech to know what kind of businesses are you dealing in. How many of us are compliant? Taxpayers. No, even those that are compliant fear to put up their hand. Taxation is, I don't know why people do not want to be compliant. One of the reasons why people don't want to be compliant and what they have told us is that government needs to be more accountable. That's why 95% of our revenue is norm of law. I put in place systems that enable you to be compliant. 95. 5% is that I need to, the unwilling, but I need to probably educate more, enforce on, and you know what? 75% of the taxman's budget goes to the 5%, the stubborn one, which means the taxman is now focusing on making sure that 95% increases too, because the 95% normal flow only takes 25% of the taxman's budget. It's more expensive for me to run after the non-compliant. Now, the borders may bring more opportunities, but also they cause a challenge. So are we prepared for those challenges? And if we are not, what is the risk are we posing to small and medium enterprises, especially the non-compliant ones that are not operating formally? Because the more you become informal, the more you remain small. Probably we need to change the name from small to growing businesses. Because sometimes when you call it small, you remain small. Yes, we have to start small, but the interest is to grow bigger and thrive, and you pay more taxes. Thank you very much.
I am Irene Mulika, and I'm Acting Assistant Commissioner Trade. Thank you, Ian. Like Ian has said, please allow me to stand here. Ian hinted on it. The single customs territory, we are under one territory because we are in a customs union as the East African Customs Community, that is the 6 countries. What happens is that goods are cleared at the first point of entry at the ports, Mombasa, Tanzania. So goods are moved from the ports to the destination, which is Uganda in our case, under a single bond. We shall look at that single bond, and they are monitored through the electronic cargo tracking system. I will also explain that in a short while. I'm just going through some of the initiatives that Customs under URA has come up with to facilitate international trade. This is one of them. It's called the Centralized Document Processing Center. What happens, it was launched in February 2017, and what happens, it's in Kampala. It's a centralized place where we have our customs officers working online to clear the goods, which our SMEs will also deal in. Whenever they have importations or exportations, the declarations are made online, and the officers you see there do the proper documentary checks to make sure that everything that is being declared is okay. So all this is done online. We have online querying. If our SMEs have declared and some information is missing, we communicate with them online. We send them a query which they are able to respond to, and then we are able to release their goods. We have an online client help tool which they can also access online if they have a challenge, a problem, they are not understanding what is happening. They can address us through that help tool. So there is no physical interaction, so that is why we have increased staff productivity. If we have increased staff productivity, it is an advantage to our clients, the SMEs in this respect, because we'll churn out more entries, we'll clear more, and so their goods, they'll be able to get their goods faster. We have what they call the Regional Electronic Cargo Tracking System. So if any of them import goods, they are monitored electronically. In the past, what used to happen is that we would escort you physically. But that is no more. Those costs were done away with and the risks involved. These goods are just the container or the goods, because what happens, some of the SMEs import through what we call groupage. They don't have full container loads, but they have several of them having goods within a container. So those containers are electronically tracked to make sure that when they come from the port, they actually reach their intended destinations in Uganda, in our respect. And this is regional. That is what technology is doing. It is enabling us to cooperate as a region. So they are tracked electronically. What you see up there is our electronic cargo tracking center. The picture, up there. We have teams who are monitoring those screens. We can get alerts in case of anything, any intended or unintended diversion. But the beauty of it all is that the SME is also able to monitor the movement of these containers on their mobile phones. So it's to their convenience. We have a regional customs transit guarantee. This is a bond or a bond that is executed through COMESA, for which we are also a partner state. It is executed, and what that means, it is covering those goods. So in the event of anything that happens along the way, it has secured the taxes. It is regional and electronically. You apply under the COMESA website, and then you go through the process, and you'll get this regional customs transit guarantee. It is electronically operated. When the goods arrive, it is validated and reconciled and retired. Previously, we used to have several. You bond goods in Kenya, you bond them in Uganda, you bond them to Rwanda, and etc. But now it is just one that will cover the whole region, and that was enabled by technology. We have what we call the Uganda Electronic Single Window. This was launched in November 2016. It's a platform, an e-platform, that enables us. You had Honorable Permanent Secretary talked about integration as government. So it enables us to offer services to our clients through this single platform. You can surf on the internet and Uganda Electronic Single Window, and the website will come up. You register, and you can be able to access us. We have URA in there. Our system is there, the clearance system that is called ASCUDA for customs. You can access all the agencies that have to do with your goods. So when you want permits, import permits, you want clearance from UNBS, you apply through the single window platform. And what that means, you don't have to submit the same documents to all of us multiple times. To the different agencies. It's a single access point, electronic certificates of origin for those who are going to export goods, even under the African Continental Free Trade Area. You'll need certificates of origin to confirm. So this will be done electronically. It is electronic through the Uganda Electronic Single Window. It reduced clearance time when we launched it from 21 days to 4 days for imports and 2 days for exports. We have non-intrusive inspection. Volumes of trade are growing by the days, and so we cannot continue to use the old methods that we used to use. We use these scanners. You drive through. We have them at the airport. We have them at our border points, so that we are able to view and see what is of interest according to our risk management systems. We don't have to physically examine all your containers. And that fastens clearance, because to SMEs and all our clients, time is of essence, because it involves costs. In Uganda, or I would say in the ESC, we use clearing agents to make declarations on our behalf. So we have automated that process. We vet them, and it is done online. They apply to be clearing agents online. They have competence tests. We've given them key performance indicators, and we're doing all that to protect the clients that they are going to serve, the clients we share. So when SMEs are able to appoint a clearing agent online and make declarations, and it is a very fast process. Then we have the Global Travel Assessment System. This is a system which enables us to receive electronic manifests in advance. So if the SMEs are importing in some of their goods via the airlines, we are able to receive the advanced cargo manifests and passenger manifests, and we are able to do our risk management in time and know that we are interested in this consignment. And not only customs, but this enables us to work smarter, because all the agencies are able to have access to this, and therefore we reduce on the time. Previously, we would wait for you to land at the airport, and then we begin checking you. And in most cases, we would even check people unnecessarily. A SCUDA system is a custom system that allows us to make the declarations I've been talking about. It created efficiencies, it's web-based. You can access it from wherever you are at whichever part of the continent and make your declaration to us. It enables a lot of things. It streamlined our procedures. It allows us to have advanced cargo information, and so we do our clearances in time. Then I'll hint on the African Continental Free Trade Area. Ms. Najinda already took us through. So as URA, we are committed to support SME operators in this regard through a number of digital and technical innovation strategies. It is becoming operational in July 2020, and we are looking at some of these to support us. We have the dashboard of the African Trade Observatory, through which we shall exchange information with the various customs in the different African countries. Of course, I talked about rules of origin. Those are certificates. They will be online e-certificates to be exchanged. We're already doing it under REX. I'll just summarize at that point because I know we've taken quite a while, but that is it on the international trade side. Thank you.